We're now going to move on to a presentation by Karl and Neha. And I'm sure that we all want new members in our club, whether we're at charter strength or whether we're not. But for some clubs, they really do struggle to get their membership up to charter strength or even increase members. So please listen while Karl and Neha will share with us ways that you can attract new members. Thank you, Karl and Neha.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Good morning, everyone. How is everybody? All good, I hope. Yes, waving hands, fabulous. Thank you. So as Vicky said, we are going to, Neha and myself, talk about membership. Remember, membership is one of our 5 focus areas. We've lost a lot of members, so we need to be gaining members now to reinvigorate our clubs. And don't forget, the new members coming through are potentially our future leaders of Toastmasters as well. So it's very important we continue to bring new people through. I'm going to talk about something called a new member funnel. And then Neha is going to talking about the marketing or promotion side of it, specifically around social media, because that's the guru that she is. She knows all about the social media side of things. So I want to talk about a new member funnel. And I'll make the statement right away that every single one of us at some point, and probably right now, are in a funnel. We're all in a sales funnel. This is the way a lot of marketers and salespeople use a way of managing from you becoming aware of something to you buying something, and they put you through a funnel. Even when you are buying something off Amazon, funnels can be a longer term or they can be quite short. Web pages are all built around a funnel concept. Even if you don't realize that, they're pulling you towards a sale point. We need to be taking some of these techniques and these concepts and understanding how they can apply to our members, because although we don't use the word sale, and we like to talk about engaging people with the value that we have in Toastmasters, at the same time we are still asking people at some point to dip into their wallet to hand over some money to a club to actually become part of that club and get the services and products that Toastmasters is providing. So what I want you to think about today is this concept as I go through it. And I want you to be able to take this back into your clubs. So when you are doing your area director reports, just like Namrita has talked about, you're thinking about this for the new member aspect. And when Tracy this afternoon talks about the Distinguished Club program, part of that, as you probably know, is putting new members on. That's a component of it. You need a tick to get that goal. Think about this concept and help your clubs to formulate their actions around this concept. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my screen. So I can get my slideshow happening here. Here we go. And everybody should be able to see that, I think, because I can see it on my screen. Yep. So I'm calling this, thank you. I'm calling this the member magnet. Now, the first thing is the law of attraction. And I think we already all know this. The law of attraction is success breeds success. People want to be around people, things, events that are successful. If your club is a quality club and is successful, it is so much easier to retain the members, but also in this case, what we're talking about, to attract new members. If somebody walks into a club, there's 6 people there, even if it's online, there's 6 people there and it's a little bit haphazard and not really well organized, it's going to be a real difficult job to convince them to join that club. You walk in to an online environment or a physical room where there's a lot of people, there's energy there, and it's a quality practices that are going on, it is so much easier for your VPM to start converting those guests into members because they see they're going to get value. And when you get more members, you get more members. More members means that more people want to join because they can see other people are benefiting for it. They wouldn't be there if the club wasn't that good. Now, what I'm talking about here, as I said before, is a new member funnel. What happens is that people go through a funnel to the point of commitment. This is what marketers use, as I meant before. What we have at the beginning is planning. And I come back to these 5 areas, focus areas that we need to be looking at as leaders this year. And one of the things I've talked about is leadership. We need to be working from a leadership perspective, but also the clubs, because we want the clubs to become strong at that grassroots level. And when things happen like a pandemic, yes, they'll get hit like everybody, but they'll be able to recover very, very quickly. And one of the aspects of leadership, as we probably all know, is planning. We just don't shoot from the hip. We plan, take action, and adjust as required. One of the things that we need to talk to our clubs about is recognize that there is a need to bring in new members. Some clubs, sometimes they get very comfortable with the membership they have, even if it's 12 people. Oh, we know each other and we get on well and we're getting through all our speeches and yeah, we're quite happy. But that's not really what Toastmasters is all about. And getting a more vibrant atmosphere and number of members into the club means that there are more people to take roles, more people to step up into the leadership positions rather than the same people doing it all the time and getting burnt out. And also, you're hearing so many different types of speeches. It's a lot more interesting, and you get to evaluate different people, and you get different people evaluating you. It's an upward spiral. It's so much positivity, but we have to get clubs to recognize that there is a need to bring in new members. And then they have to take action. Recognizing it and agreeing is one thing, but we have to take action. We can all probably think to ourselves, yeah, we should be fit. We should be out running, pounding that pavement, or we should be at the gym or walking or doing something. But until we take that action, we are not going to get fit. So the things a club needs to be thinking about is who do they want to be coming in through that door? What type of guests do they want? What kind of members? What do they need to do to attract those members? How are they going to do it? Where are they going to position themselves or advertise them or promote themselves where people are going to see? And Neha, again, will talk about this a little bit later. And when are they going to do that? Are they doing that once a year, at certain times during the year, or are they doing that in an ongoing way? So the planning is important, because for guests to come through, we need to turn on that tap. We've got to turn on that tap so the guests start flowing through. If we don't, nothing's going to come out. No guests coming through. So we've got to turn up that tap with that planning. The next thing then, and I'm going to be briefly on this, is promotion. Because Neha, as I said, is going to really get into more detail about the social media. But promotion, if you're advising a club on how to promote themselves, where or what would you suggest as how they could promote themselves? So just open your mic and give us some thoughts.
Personally in the community.
Personally in the community, thank you.
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yep. All those Facebook, suite of Facebook channels there that Marita will, that Neha will talk about. Yes. Anybody else?
Meetup.
A meetup, yes, thank you. Meetup is a good one. And we tend to find that Meetup works well in the inner city. It doesn't work so well in the outer suburbs and the country. That's the feedback that we've had in the district. So for the people who are area directors and looking after the inner city clubs, Meetup can be quite a powerful tool. One more.
Local radio.
Radio. We're Toastmasters. We want to get some experience at speaking. And I'll give you a little insight knowledge here. Speaking and getting all that experience and making a difference in the world is not just in the four walls of your club. Break out of those four walls and start speaking. Get onto radio. All it takes is a phone call or an email. Ring up a local community station or any station in your particular area or division, if you're a division director, and say, hey, can I come and speak about Toastmasters? It's such value to the community. And you'll probably get a good response. They may want you to go in to be in the studio to do it, or they may do it over the phone. I've done plenty of radio interviews over the phone. It's very convenient. You don't, again, it's like Zoom. You don't even have to be dressed nicely for it. As long as you're able to give the key messages around Toastmasters, that's a great way of getting out there and good experience for you. So let's look at some of the other things that we talked about. So a website. When you're going into your club, do they have a website? If not, they should have one. Website. Everybody looks at the website. If you're looking up Toastmasters, first thing people do is look up the website to find out what TI is all about. Same as a club, they will look that up. If they don't see a website, it's more than likely they may look for another club that does have a website. Facebook and LinkedIn, I'll let Neha talk about that. The newspaper, a local newspaper. My home club has a partnership with our local newspaper, and we do that with another club. And we alternate. Every time it comes out, they do 1 week, we do another week. And it is incredibly powerful for us. Most of the people that we get through our door come from the newspaper ad because they read it. It is so powerful. But I'll give you an inside tip here as well, because this comes from the editor of the newspaper. The readers are not interested in just finding out about Toastmasters. They don't want the logo and this is what Toastmasters can do for you. They're not interested in that. They will turn the page or swipe the page over if it's electronically. What they're interested in is human interest stories that you can then wrap in what Toastmasters does. So for instance, we do various ones depending who we are targeting at the time. We have done it where we have promoted a very high level leadership job that somebody got. They called it their dream job. We have a photograph of that person. We talked about that person, what they achieved. And oh, by the way, you too can achieve this through Toastmasters. Here's our contact number for our local club. We've done that for someone who got a secondment over into another state for 6 months. And that was a highly sought after job. And she got that because of the skills that she learned at Toastmasters. She had to go through the last interview. There was multiple interviews, 3 hours. And she used her table topic skills to get that. We wove that into our newspaper article. Now, what I'm saying here doesn't have to just be for the newspaper. You can repurpose that for other things as well. We had somebody who came along to Toastmasters because they wanted to do a great job for their son's 21st party. He was going to make a speech as the father, and he didn't want to embarrass the family. He wanted to make sure that they were proud of him. And he did that. And it was an outstanding success. But we put a picture of him and explain that. So we get a lot of people from the newspaper. Meetup, we've talked about local radio, notice boards. I've done this myself. I've gone around to community places and libraries with a poster, little poster that you get from download from TI. And I've asked them, can I put this up on your notice board? Sometimes I put multiple flyers as well that people can take. And the flyers there. Word of mouth is very powerful. Talk to as many people about it as you can. And local festivals and events. Encourage the clubs to get involved with them. My club, again, coming as an example, is we have been in our local events during summer. Knox is our area, so a Knox festival. And there's another one I can't think of, Stringy Bark festival. Thousands of people come through. You get a little, for community groups, often these are free. You don't have to pay for anything. You just need to get people from the club to dedicate a bit of their time. A couple of hours here, have a few people doing it. And you get a little marquee that you can stand under, so you're out of the sun, your banner's up, and you talk to people. Thousands of people come through. We also went to Westfield. We had 2 shopping full days and nights on a Friday and a Saturday doing Westfield Shopping Centre, a major shopping centre that we got into. So it was great exposure. So think about promotion. What you've got out there with the members that come through or the guests that come through is they have a problem. They've suddenly become aware of a problem to do with speaking or leadership, but it's mainly speaking, the communication. They've become aware that, oh, I need to do this to get advancement in career. Oh, I have a speaking event coming up. How am I going to do this? I'm terrified. I need to deal with this. Where can I go? Or the party example, 21st, it could be a wedding. Where do I go? They become aware of a problem. What they're doing then is they become discoverers. They're trying to discover where they can get help for that problem. And that's when they come to us. They've discovered us and now they are exploring us. And this section here is helping them discover us. They've become aware of that problem and now they've discovered Toastmasters. And I should say here, I'm not going to talk about this, but it's very important that when the clubs are doing these websites and Facebook and newspaper, any branding is connected to the brand, the correct logo usage, the correct colors, all that sort of thing. And Sue Pederick this afternoon will be talking about Quality Club. She's going to touch on branding because that goes hand in hand with having a quality club, connecting with the brand so we have that strength. So let's move further down the funnel now. We now go into impressions, first impressions, and this is part of moments of truth as well that we've looked at. First impressions, are you professional? Now, it doesn't mean you all have to be suits and ties in the clubs, but it does mean that you know what you're doing and you come across as demonstrating that. That you have brand excellence. And again, Sue's going to talk about this. The brand has attached to it its values. It has the experience, the member experience. It has what people think about when they see that name Toastmasters and the logo. And it's also the way we use their products and services, the way we use pathways, how we do our speeches, the quality of our evaluations, how we do table topics. All of these are associated for the brand. We need to be doing them really well. And this is how you can help your clubs and through your area director visits if something isn't quite up to standard there, but certainly reaffirm things that are going well for them. Is it friendly? Now, most clubs are friendly, but we just need to make sure that people are feeling welcome as soon as they step through that door. That we're enthusiastic. There's nothing worse than going into a club and everybody's been working during the day and it's a little bit down. You've got to be enthusiastic. So when you're going into clubs, make sure that they're showing that enthusiasm. Find out what their engagement pitch is. Now, the engagement pitch is, what do they say to their guests when they come through? And one of the big things I always ask them is, do you even ask them if they're interested in joining? You don't have to do the hard sell here. It's not a hard sell, but a lot of people, if they've come to a quality club, they're actually interested in joining. You just need to ask them in a friendly way. What you need to be doing with your clubs is making sure you are removing as much friction as possible from that guest to join. Making sure they can find the clubs through that promotion we've talked about. Making sure that the club environment is quality and they can see that, and then helping them to make it real easy to join the club. Make sure the clubs have forms available so people can join on the spot if necessary, and talk to them afterwards. Get feedback on how the club went. Make sure, and this is going for the VPMs here, make sure that they understand what that need is. What was that awareness that they had a problem that they're coming to Toastmasters to solve? Find out what that awareness is, and then you can weave that into the conversation around how they can address that through Toastmasters. And follow up. Some clubs don't follow up. And you saw with Namrita's graph before how that is quite low, which really surprises me. You need to follow up. It doesn't mean that you are spamming people. It doesn't mean that you are constantly hounding them about this, but a form letter that you can personalize a little bit that says, thank you for visiting the club. We enjoyed your visit. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, please let us know. And you are welcome to come back for a couple more times if you want to just check us out to see if we are a good fit for you. You can think of the exact words. I'm just throwing something out there at the moment. But follow-up is so important. So that's first impression. Now, leakage. As we're going through that funnel, what will happen is some people will come in and they're not going to be interested. And really, there's 4 reasons. The first being perception. It's not what they thought it was going to be. Now, I'm not kidding you. I'm going to tell you a little story here. We had a guest come in. He was a younger guy that came into our club. And at the end, he gave a feedback. And we get all our guests to get up and give feedback to the whole membership, to the whole group, so we can hear them as well as talk to them afterwards, if they're comfortable doing that. And most are. And his feedback was, oh, I didn't realize you had to get up and speak. I thought it was like just somebody at the front, like a teacher, just telling you how to do public speaking and you just took notes. So we had to explain to him, well, it's not a spectator sport. You've kind of, if you're learning public speaking, you got to speak. But he wouldn't have it. He just wanted to sit there and get, so he didn't join. That's not what we do at the club. That's not what we do in Toastmasters. It wasn't a good fit for him. So it's the perception of what Toastmasters is all about. It's the process that might put them off. If the meeting was disorganized and shoddy, not good. There is another organization aside from Toastmasters, there's probably a couple of them, but there's another well-known one that does what similar that we do for improving speakers and communicating. And I was working with someone who checked out Toastmasters and checked out this other group. And the feedback I got was they went into this other organization to the meeting and it was a complete joke. They didn't start the meeting till after about half an hour. All they did was sit around and talk and just have social things. And then they got onto it. No one knows what they were doing. The speeches were terrible. She said, there's no way I was going to join that club and give money over. And she went somewhere else. So I know our clubs aren't like that, but we do know there is a spectrum between what I call rock star clubs that are so good at this. And you can see the membership that they have, high numbers of membership. They're hitting President's Distinguished year after year after year. They're benchmark clubs to those that are struggling and consistently struggling. You know, they're the ones that we need to be helping to bring them up. The place, I call it the place. It may be that where they are meeting just isn't convenient for someone, or it could be the time. Now, we have a situation where we finish about 10 o'clock for the club that I'm involved with, and that doesn't suit some people. They want to be in bed by 9, and it just doesn't suit, and that's fine. That's not up to them. They probably join otherwise, but other clubs might be at lunchtime, and somebody can't get there for lunch, or they visit once and then realize, yeah, this is going to be a bit hard. So sometimes it's not convenient for them. And finally, and this is a hard one, personality. Each club is different in its own way. It's not the culture they want to be in. So when they go to a club, they're checking out the learning aspects of that club, but they're also checking out the people, the culture. the enthusiasm, what they're like. Are they positive? Are they positive about Toastmasters? Are they positive with each other? And it may be that, yeah, they're not particularly interested. It may be an age thing. I know I had a young guy come at our club again, and I speak a lot at my club because I can, because I'm there seeing it. And he actually said, oh, there's not enough young people in this club. That's fine. That's his decision. And, you know, that's what he's looking for. And he's got his right to be doing that. And I suggested some other clubs that he could perhaps check out. So as I'm saying, as we come through this funnel, there are people who are going to continue going through, and there are going to those that will leak out of that funnel. What we want to try and do is stop that leakage as much as possible by having that quality club and addressing those perceptions. And then we go into the actual conversion, because what we've got at this stage is we have those discoverers, those people have discovered us, they become deciders. We need to help them decide whether they want to join this club or not. And then doers, we get them to sign on the dotted line, as they say, and reap the benefits of our clubs. So we need, with our clubs, to take swift action on new member administration. We want to have excellent integration right from the start. We need to make sure that when members join, that they're coming into the club on the best footing, that they're getting right into that educational program, and they've got mentors to help them. We want to start delivering on what we're saying we're going to deliver. And make sure that that bucket isn't leaking. As they come into our club, being the bucket, we need to make sure that the quality of our clubs continues. Otherwise, those members after the first payment period will come out. And although we've got them through that funnel, we've still lost them. And again, Sue will talk a little bit about this. I'm very quickly now going to just look at a meaningful marketing pyramid, as I call it. Again, help clubs to understand this, that when they are marketing, what we don't want is just a scattergun approach. We're just throwing things against the wall, hoping that they're going to be sticking. What we want is to make sure we've got a bit of a sniper here, to make sure with a scope we are getting what we want. We're getting that bullseye on the target. So the first thing that we need to do is identify, step one with our clubs, who are you targeting? Are you targeting professionals? And my club happens to try to do that as much as possible. Not all clubs have to do that. It's up to them. Are they looking at retired people? Are they looking at students? Are they looking at new people who have come into the country? Is it a combination of all those? So who are you targeting, or who are the clubs targeting? And then try to understand, put yourself, or get your clubs to put themselves into the shoes of those people. Understand, what do they want? They've come to Toastmasters, they've discovered us to address something that they've become aware that they're lacking in. What is it, so that we know what they want? Whenever they get, and please tell your clubs, whenever a guest comes through, they should be, the VPM should be taking notes of why are guests coming through our door. There could possibly be trends to let them know that this is a common thing that people are coming through for. So we know our club needs to make sure that we are addressing this aspect. The other thing a VPM should always ask is, where did you hear about us? Because that way they know which of their marketing channels are working really well and which aren't, and where to put all their energy. So step two is understand what they want. Step three is access. Can the club give it to them? If they can't give it to them, that's what a club needs to start working on. And again, it comes back to the quality. If there's something there that guests want and the club is lacking, then it's not science. You know, it's not brain surgery that we're doing here. If a club can't give what a guest wants, the guest is not going to become a new member. So can you give it to them? If not, work on it. Then connect with them when you're doing the marketing and when you're doing the conversations in the club. The clubs should understand what's the message that they're giving. The message that they will give to a professional, to a retiree, to a student, to a person new to the country, they're all different. Underneath, the core of what we do as Toastmasters is still the same, but it's the way that people access that for their particular need we need to be talking to them about. And then finally, reach. What's the media? What's the channels that you're going to use to get those people? They're out there waiting to discover something like Toastmasters. So how can we make it easy for them, reduce that friction so they can see that and then come into our clubs? You want to review all that to make sure that everything is in place. The club's got a handle on that. And then finally, press the button, go. And keep on reviewing it. Who are we targeting? Is it working? What do they want? Are we doing that right? Can we give it to them? Yes, I think we can. What's the messages? Do we need to change the messaging in some way and vary that media? So that's the meaningful marketing period to give you a little pyramid, to give you a little bit of an idea. When you do your club reports, as Neha, I keep calling Neha, Namrita talked about earlier, they're interchangeable. There are too many N's in this team. When Namrita did those area director report presentations before, this is the sort of thing that you can be looking at and helping with your clubs. Neha will now start talking about that marketing, helping to discover our clubs, because the feedback I get a lot when I'm dealing with clubs is that they are not promoting, they're not marketing. And if they are, they're not doing it well. Raising awareness is half of the battle. The rest is then when you get that guest through the door. But they've got to make sure that they're aware of it, that guests can find about Toastmasters, and that it's looking and sounding good, appetizing. Yeah, I'm going to give those people a bit of a ring, or send them an email to come along and find out what's going on with them. And then this afternoon, you'll hear from Sue, who will talk a little bit more about creating that quality club, because we can promise things in our marketing, but we have to be able to deliver them. That is so important. Otherwise, guests are just going to leak out of that funnel, and we don't want that. Neha, are you ready to go?
Yes, Karl.
I will pass over to you now. So please, everybody, welcome Neha Pandey, our Public Relations Manager.
Thank you, Karl. Hello, everyone. I will quickly share my screen. And let me just ensure I can see the chat. Oh, no. Yes, I can't see the timer, though. Okay, yes, I can see the timer. All right, then. Hello, everyone. I will today talk about attracting new members to our club. And this is while staying on board with the broader topic of the member magnet. So the first question is, how do we attract new members to our club? This is a very common question that I get asked, and Karl said the same thing a little while back. But at the same time, this is a very important question, especially today when we've lost many members in the last 1 year. But the answer to this question is simple. We need to reach out to the right target audience. Oh, so the next question will be, and who is the right target audience? When it comes to knowing your right target audience, in my humble opinion, Toastmasters has made our life very easy. We have a wide range of right target audience. To put it in one word, anyone can be our right target audience. Isn't that true? Anyone looking to work on their communication skills, leadership skills, language skills, networking and social skills is our target audience. Business person? Yes. Stand-up comedian? Oh, yes. Your colleague? Why not? Your neighbor? Absolutely. Your uncle? 100%. Your teenage son or daughter? If not now, then when? So now that our target audience is established, we need to know how to reach them. Again, a very common question, and which has a very simple answer: by promoting our clubs. And at this point, allow me to point out that promotions have multiple benefits. You don't promote your club just to be seen in the wider audience or amongst the non-members. You promote your club to keep your existing members engaged. It helps you in promoting the Toastmasters brand again and again, and apprise non-members as well as members, or rather help existing members revise what Toastmasters has to offer while you are promoting your club and you are trying to get the message of Toastmasters, the community, and also the district across to the existing members as well as to non-members, to the wider audience. Now comes another popular question. How do we clubs promote ourselves, and what do we do for that? Today, I will share 6 ways of promoting clubs, keeping in mind the ongoing uncertainty because of the pandemic. All these 6 ways are keeping in mind the pandemic is there and there is a lot of uncertainty. So all these ways will help you even when, God forbid, if we are in lockdown and even if we are meeting in person. And I hope I motivate you to use all these 6 ways, but I'll be happy if you could take away at least a couple of them. So here are the 6 ways that I will be discussing. And let me just delve a little deeper into each of these ways. Look, we are here at Toastmasters to hone our communication skills. Then why not use the same communication skills to talk about Toastmasters, to promote Toastmasters? Talk to anyone and everyone you think may benefit from this community, its endeavors and its values. Like I said, neighbor, uncle, teenage son, daughter, anybody you think who can benefit from being a part of this community and can benefit this community by being amongst us. Showcase your persuasive skills, give an elevator pitch beautifully wrapped around your personal story. That's right. When you talk about your learning experience at Toastmasters, how it has impacted your personal and professional life, people will listen to you. But at the same time, you also need to keep in mind what the other person requires, what the other person expects to gain out of Toastmasters, and maybe tweak your message a little bit, your impactful story a little bit, to see if it can suit the person standing in front of you, and it will surely get them interested. Word of mouth carries a lot of weight. In the professional circle, we call it referrals. It is still the most effective recruitment tool, and so please use it. Please encourage all your members to talk to their colleagues, neighbors, like I said, uncle, daughter, son, anybody, to talk about Toastmasters. The other way is, if you think somebody can benefit from Toastmasters, invite them to a meeting. Let them experience it firsthand. Many seasoned Toastmasters swear by this method of attracting visitors. The next one is Toastmasters sponsored or designed public events. Speechcraft is one of Toastmasters community outreach programs, and clubs that have used it to teach the fundamentals of public speaking to non-members, who in turn, by being a part of a Speechcraft program, get a taste of Toastmasters, a brief exposure into the benefits that Toastmasters has to offer over the long term. It is, again, another excellent recruitment tool. In fact, now from the 1st of July, from this Toastmaster new program here, we have an improved version of Speechcraft, which is more in line with the Pathways Education program. It is updated to include digital content. If you want to know more about the new Speechcraft program, please get in touch with our Speechcraft coordinator, Marlene Sinclair. The next public event that many clubs host is open house. In fact, many clubs across the world are known to host multiple open houses through the year. And it can be done virtually as well. So put out an invitation, an open invitation to visit, to anyone and everyone, to visit your club, see how things function there, see what a Toastmasters meeting is all about. This tool, again, is said to be exceptionally reliable for all those who have used it. And clubs who use it regularly have said to benefit from it tremendously. Flyers and business cards, traditional marketing tools. Yes, you can design a flyer for your own club. In fact, if you can see the pictures on my slide, the first flyer is the one that somebody from Diamond Valley Toastmasters shared with me during one of the club officer trainings. And the other one is another flyer that I sourced during a public relations manager peer call, which is facilitated by our region advisor. And that is District 69 had designed that flyer for to help their division directors promote their individual division. So if you can see, it says insert the division number and so on and so forth. So these are two flyer templates that I have on me. If anyone wants it, I can email it across. You can distribute these flyers amongst your members, who in turn can distribute it amongst their contacts, family, friends. You can stick up a flyer at the venue that you meet, keep one in the local library, or get one published in a local newspaper. Flyers can also form a part of your visitors pack, and so can business cards. Get them printed and again, distributed as part of your visitors pack, or give a couple of them to all your members who can distribute it amongst their contacts. Since we talked about local newspapers, there are many community resources that we can tap into to promote Toastmasters. Yes, local newspapers are a great place to share human interest stories like Karl just mentioned a little while back. And these could be a couple of examples that come to my mind are, there's this member in my home club, Hawthorne Toastmasters Club. And in the last 4 years that I have been part of that club, I have seen his language skills go through the roof. It is so heartwarming to see how he has improved his language skills just by being a part of Toastmasters, being a regular at Toastmasters at our club meetings, and being very prompt and proactive with taking up speaking slots. These kind of stories can form a good newspaper stories. Alternately, there could be stories about someone who joined your club to better their communication skills and cracked an interview, or maybe somebody who joined the club to better their language skills and maybe competed at the district speech contest level. This apart, releases and announcements can always be published in newspapers, like about club speech contest, or member completing 25 years in your club. Alternately, like Danielle just pointed out, local radio channels are a good resource to tap into. Community festivals, which Karl gave a couple of examples of. Forging a partnership with local shopping centers, and maybe setting up a stall, getting in touch with local colleges also, getting permission to pin up a flyer on their notice board. These are all great community resources to tap into. Since we were talking about newspapers and articles published there, if you can see a screen, this was an interview that was published in Star Weekly, which is a local newspaper in the Williamstown area, and our Table Topics District contest winner, Fiona Price, had an interview published in that newspaper where she not only talks about her connection to the Williamstown area, but what she did in the district contest and how Toastmasters has helped her and what it stands for. Great way to promote while talking about a personal story, a personal win. Next up, club website. Karl touched upon this topic. I will try and delve a little more deeper, because this is yet another powerful tool. Many potential members often first land at our websites, whether it is at the Toastmasters International website or a club website or even the district website. Therefore, we must ensure that it is user-friendly. the information and the tone in which that information is published on the website is presented in a way that it influences the visitor's decision to visit a club. Here, I would also like to point out that another thing that influences a visitor's decision to whether or not visit a certain club is when they leave a message, when they leave an inquiry via the contact us form and they don't hear back from us. That is not the way to go about it. And I have said this before, but I will repeat it here. As per a 2019 survey taken by Toastmasters International, 60% of potential visitors said that if they did not attend a club meeting or did not visit a club, that was because 70% of the time they did not hear back from the club when they tried contacting the club. Therefore, it is highly recommended that we, as part of the community, have a deadline defined for response to inquiries coming in through the Contact Us form. When I was the Vice President membership in my club, the rule that we used to follow was respond to any query coming in within 24 to 48 hours. There is another club I know, they've practiced 48 to 72 hours, which is good enough, but have a deadline defined, because otherwise I can respond to a mail that I get today, maybe a year later, but that will be no good. More importantly, clubs without a website, if at all there are any such clubs, are at a major, major disadvantage. So first, have a website. Once that box is ticked, ensure it is up to date, furnishes the right contact details, is friendly, easy to navigate, and attractive. Yes, that is important. Next is, oh yeah, my favorite topic, social media. Like in case of your websites, clubs without a social media page are at a disadvantage. I would suggest that at least have a Facebook page. Facebook, believe it or not, is the modern day Yellow Pages. I'm not sure how many of you all have gone through this report that Facebook had published in 2017, 2018, where it said that most people log into their Facebook accounts early in the morning to access news. That is still the truth today, but now Facebook has also doubled up as an alternate search engine, and that is absolutely right. You heard that right. Facebook today is an alternate search engine as well, especially for the millennials. Without a Facebook page, we have no idea how many people lose interest in our club. Don't search for it. Don't search for us on Google, for instance. And I totally understand that millennials are not our only target audience, but today they form a huge part of our audience. And therefore, we must not undermine them. And by the way, I've not even begun talking about Gen Z, who first knew social media and then maybe other things. So please be present on social media. More importantly, please be active on social media. If you ask me, I'd recommend clubs being present on on the big four of social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Because that will give you a wider coverage of profiles, from professionals to millennials to anyone and everyone you can tap into if you are on all the four platforms. But again, at least be on Facebook, because you are most likely to find all your members or most of your members on Facebook. And please be active so that a potential member knows your club exists and they can hope to get a revert on any query they post through Facebook. Therefore, just like I spoke for the club website, please ensure whoever is in charge of your social media page or pages keeps an eye on the messages coming in. It is important to respond well in time. It is important for someone who is leaving an inquiry on your Facebook page to know that their inquiry is cared enough for, that there is somebody who will take the responsibility of responding to that inquiry. it is important. That is exactly where you start making a potential visitor feel important. And that is where you start attracting them to your club. Social media today has, it is a powerful tool, but in times like we are living in right now, it has become even more powerful because we have all lived through times when search engines and social media were the only two windows we could see the world through. Remember last year, and maybe this year also for many parts of the world? Additionally, social media is highly recommended, at least in my opinion, to tap into, to reach out to your target audience, to reach out to a wider audience, because it requires limited effort. It provides an ease of interaction. It has a quicker and wider reach, which means you get more attention easily. And the most important bit here is that social media or promotions through social media are so much more cheaper than the traditional ways of marketing. What all can you do on social media? You can create content. You can post photos and videos, of course, with due permission from your club members. Otherwise, you can just put out a text-only post. If you can see my slide, I have given some examples of some ideas for content creation for clubs. Put out details about your next meeting. Put out the names of the best speaker from last night's meeting, for instance. Right now is the time to introduce your next executive committee to the world. Just the names. Do not tag anyone if they don't like it. Do not put out pictures if they don't like it. Just the names are good enough. Talk about your DCP points. Talk about if you are president's distinguished club or not. And what does that mean? Let the wider audience know about it. When we talk about creating content or posting content on social media, what we need to remember is, and this is primarily from the point of making it easier to be active on social media, is plan a pipeline of content that you can publish. For instance, the topics that you can see on your slide, these can be your topics. Plan it. So twice a month, we need to tell about our upcoming meeting. Twice a month, we have to tell about what our last meeting was about. How many of us here have seen what Andrew Breeden shares with the district page? He always talks about the Box Hill Toastmasters Club meeting. What happened at Box Hill Toastmasters Club last night is his usual caption, and he puts out only pictures. Now, in his case, members are comfortable with their pictures being put out on social media, but that is the easiest and the most fantastic way of putting out or keeping your page active and putting out details of what all is happening in your meetings. Now, when you create content, like I said, plan a pipeline of content, decide on topics. Most importantly, ready a content calendar. You don't want to scramble for content for, say, Monday morning on a Sunday night. Or you don't want to frustrate your VPPR or VPM, whoever is in charge of your Facebook page, a day before because they can't find a good content to post. I would say an easier way out would be posting at least 1 to 2 content every week. And you don't have to create every piece of content, not at all. You can use content from Toastmasters International page. They are a powerhouse of content. You can use the district's content. We will be more than happy if you can share our content everywhere. More importantly, when you have an active page, when you put out content, when you share photos or videos or quotes or anything, maybe design a club specific hashtag. For instance, for the district, we have hashtag District 73 Toastmasters. When you click on that hashtag, you have all the content ever published by District 73, at least since July 2020, collated under that hashtag. It is just easier to search for content. It is easier to access content. More importantly, please urge your members to follow your pages and engage with posts. Your page cannot be considered active if you're just constantly posting quotes. There has to be someone. In case of the district website, usually it is Danielle, Karl, Namrita. They go and like the post, if not comment on it every time. But the more your post is engaged with likes and comments, the more is its shelf life. It keeps circulating in the system. That is important. And I'm sure most of you know that, but the more you post on social media, the higher is the engagement with your social media post, the more the social media algorithm makes your page appear on related news feeds or suggests your page as pages you may like to those who seem to read similar content. Therefore, staying active, having a good engagement rate on your post is of utmost importance. Also, like pointed out earlier, do use the Toastmasters Victoria meetup page. It is bustling with events and is a fantastic platform to advertise your next meeting, speechcraft event, or even an open house. But while you are busy promoting your club, there are two important points to keep in mind. First one is to focus on meaningful promotions. Promotion is no mean task. It must be chalked out properly before you take a plunge. Therefore, invest time and effort in doing so mindfully so that you get to reap the benefits. When you are promoting your club or clubs, your sole purpose is not only to advertise or market your club and reach out to the right audience, but also to gain loyalty, to have a wider impact by spreading the district and Toastmasters International's message and mission across a wider audience. More importantly, remember there is no one-size-fits-all style to promote clubs. Promotions must be tailored to your club's requirement and strengths. What kind of club are you? Do you marvel at being a good friend circle, a good social circle, or are you a club that is into healthy competition where one ups the other and y'all complete your education pathways? What kind of club are you? Like Karl was just pointing out that his club tries to tap into professionals. What are your requirements? Look into that before you design your marketing plan, your promotions plan. And with keeping that in mind, focus on designing a realistic plan for promotion that is easy to follow year after year, month after month. Even more important is this point. Promotions need effort. They need time. They don't happen themselves. And of course, the second point to remember when you're promoting clubs is the Toastmasters brand. When planning your promotions or campaigns, ensure the executive committee, or at least I'm assuming the VPPR will be responsible for promotions here, ensure that they have read the Toastmasters brand guidelines. In May, Toastmasters released a revised brand guideline, which now offers more design opportunities in terms of color gradient and transparencies. And as Toastmasters, it is each of our duty to connect and comply with the brand. Be mindful that there is just one brand, one Toastmasters brand, and by being consistent, we recognize that one brand. We show our respect, commitment, and awareness towards it. Toastmasters brand resources can be found on the brand portal, which you can reach by going to the homepage, then resources tab, and then to the brand portal. You can see the picture. I have attached a picture just to show you how to go about it. More importantly, please get in touch with any of the district leaders. You guys are the area directors, help out your clubs. Division directors, help out the area directors and the clubs. Or the district trio is there, I am there. Admin managers, anyone, just about any of the leaders will be more than happy to step in and help you. And if we don't live up to expectations, which I doubt will ever happen, you can always write to Toastmasters International. They are very prompt with clarifying doubts, clearing designs, and so on and so forth. And here are the direct links to all the resources that Toastmasters has lined up for us. Do go through these documents. They are a powerhouse of knowledge. And with that, I would end my presentation. Daniel has been flashing the red light for some time now. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Neha, very good presentation. Thanks.
Thank you, Kiru.
Thanks for that, Neha. That was fabulous. Just as a last word, as Neha has mentioned at the end there's a lot of information from the TI website. Please go in and have an explore. There's lots of flyers, lots of information professionally done that you can download that is fully authorized by TI. If you are going to do something yourself that's more localized, please remember that you are connected to the brand. There is information there in a brand manual. It's simply laid out how to do that. But you can always check with one of the district leaders, myself, Namrita, Neha, Danny. We will give you advice to make sure that is consistent. It must be connected to the brand. We can't have anything that's not compliant in that way. And also, I hope that also you've been listening there, because there's a lot of great information that you will be able to use to advise your clubs when you're doing your area director visits. Because one of the big things that we see, and you saw that from the previous AD reports that Namrita showed, that one of the big issues that we have that clubs don't do well is promotion. The community and people out there don't know about Toastmasters. They don't know the clubs exist and they're not coming through. So please, if a club is struggling with that, make sure you're advising them, giving them some of the stuff we've talked about today, and writing that up in your area director report. So thank you, Neha. Slides, yes, someone's asking about the slides. We can do that. It's also recorded this, so there's a lot of information. It will be on our YouTube channel. You can just go back, find the bits that you want to listen to in your own time and go through that.